So some of the things we're going to show you here are faster ways, better ways of doing some of the things you may be doing the long way right now, better ways to reuse design over and over, things that you can build very quickly with drag and drop modeling. So I want to remind you about some of the fast tools that we have to build parts and assemblies. So just the first thing that I'm going to show you is just the search window up here. And if you change it to search files and models for the type of what you want to search, you can go up here and search for names of files. Names or descriptions is where it'll look for these things. Now this uses the Windows desktop search. So of course, if you go over to your Windows and type in search, or Windows search I think it is, you can change where it is indexing. And if it's indexing these folders, it's because the search data is going to be a lot faster. So this is something you would do outside of SolidWorks. Set up what directories you want to be able to search, let it do the indexing, and then the search over here inside of SolidWorks is pretty quick. So I can search for, a part name or whatever, and it's going to find all the things that have the word I, and then anything that has the word rod, and then whatever I've typed, and then you can just drag and drop parts into an assembly. The design library is what we're going to show next. So just as a reminder, the design library is a little set of library books over on the right-hand side on the task pane. The design library, as it comes out of the box, has a few examples in it. I've added some extra folders for some other things, other features, other parts, and that's where I'm going to get into. But it's really the same thing. It's just you can add more folders with the buttons at the top. So in here, I've got features. I've got parts, I've got sketches, I've got notes that I could drag and drop onto a drawing. So quick, easy access to reuse of data, things I've done in the past. If you find yourself doing the same thing over and over, don't do that. Do it one time, put it in the library, whether it's a note, or whether it's a feature, whether it's a sketch, whether it's a part, and then you can drag and drop those things very quickly. So for example, I've got this end cap or pocket that I want to cut a lot, and it says it needs to be positioned concentric to a hole or radius. I just created this one time. If I open this file up, it was just modeled up once, and then the pocket saved as the thing that will be dropped in when I use this. So that's called a library feature. It gets saved as a special kind of part. SLD LFP is the extension on these. But then I have the ability to just drag and drop this in, and I can drop it on any faces that I'd like to. I'm going to drop it down here on this face where it makes sense. Based on how you built the original, it may or may not ask you for references. This original one apparently was positioned concentric, to some circular something on this end. So it's asking me to pick the same kind of circular edge. I can just ignore that and hit OK, and it's just going to plop the library feature down right where I physically dropped it. Or I can go ahead and satisfy that, and it'll actually locate it where it thinks it wants to locate it. It does come in as a little set of library books over here, the whole feature. You can open this up and see what the individual features are underneath. You can, of course, click on this and get access to the dimensions. It's just like you did a copy and paste of a feature. So, if I wanted to change this here to 25 or whatever, move that to a different location, make this thing wider, and so on and so on. So they are editable after the fact. You can also right-click on them and explode them, or dissolve, sorry. And then it would just be the pocket up at the top level of this part, just like you did it right in this part file. You don't even have to keep it as a library feature. Now, one of the options you get, I'm going to drag and drop another library feature in. Here's a grease fitting port. Right? I'm going to drag and drop this guy into this space here. And one of the options you get inside of any of the library features is over here, link to library part. If you do turn this option on, it is linked to the physical one in the library. And 2 years from now, if somebody changed the one in the library, it would change this one here in your part file too, if you had this turned on. By default, that's not on, and it's just like you basically opened that part, did a copy, and did a paste of those features. It's really the same thing. So we're going to choose, this one has different configurations. Your library features can have different sizes, different configurations in them. We're going to choose a particular size grease fitting port here. It knows the face because I dropped it onto a face. It doesn't know a dimensioning face, or face to dimension from, so we're going to pick this face here. As far as location, where do I want this? Up and down from the top. You can do math in here. The whole thing was 50. I can say 50 divided by 2 if I want to put it right in the middle. What angle do you want this set at? 60 degrees, wherever you want to locate it. And then sometimes, and you can decide this when you create the library feature, do you want somebody to be able to override certain values, or do you not want them to? You can lock them out of all the values. Here I can change counterbore depth, counterbore diameter, but I can't change like the tapped hole and things like that, for example. I'm just going to leave them as the defaults. Go ahead and drop that. There's that feature. That one actually brought in a whole bunch of stuff, an axis, a sketch, some planes, cut, and the tapped hole. So your library features can have all kinds of things we brought in with them, not just one feature. Many features, planes, sketches, whatever it takes to build that thing. And maybe even things that you're going to use then to position off that thing, like planes and axes. You're going to need to make things to that. So you can always think about, think ahead that way and put those in your library feature. New in 2013 is also the ability to make library features out of multi-body parts. Used to be we had a limitation where we could just do single body parts. Now you can do them with multi-body parts. So lots of things for weldments can be done as library features now for reuse over and over. You can just have sketches in your library. It doesn't have to be a complete feature. I can just, if there's a sketch I use a lot over and over, I can drag and drop that onto any face, just like the features do. We're going to drop it onto that face there. There's really no options to change sizes or anything. I mean, I suppose there could be, but it's just a sketch. There is an edit sketch button in here before you finish the library feature command, which is kind of nice. If you want to get in there and move stuff around, you could use your modify sketch tool to locate, position it, rotate it if you wanted to, or you'd like to locate this guy. But ultimately, you're probably going to do like a concentric or something in this case to locate that. Then it just drops that sketch in. It does come in as a library feature. You'd probably dissolve that then for sure, so that sketch was just up at the top level, and do whatever you need to with that sketch. So reuse of information, very awesome way of drag and drop modeling.